The lure of lost treasure has called to adventurers for centuries. Whispers of gold, jewels, and ancient artifacts buried deep beneath the earth or lost at sea. But what if the treasure itself didn't want to be found? What if it carried a curse, a spectral guardian sworn to protect it for all eternity? Tonight, we delve into the chilling tale of the cursed doubloon of Captain One-Eyed Jack. The story begins in the early 18th century, the golden age of piracy. Captain Jack wasn't his real name, of course. No one knew his true identity. He was a phantom of the high seas, a ruthless pirate who commanded the dreaded ship, the Sea Serpent. Jack was notorious for his cruelty and his insatiable greed. He plundered countless ships, leaving no survivors to tell the tale. His hoard was said to be the largest in the Caribbean, a king's ransom in gold, silver, and precious gems. But among all his treasures, one piece was his most prized possession, a single oversized Spanish doubloon. It wasn't its monetary value that made it special. The coin was unnaturally cold to the touch, even under the blazing Caribbean sun. Its surface was etched with strange, unfamiliar symbols that seemed to writhe and shift when you weren't looking directly at them. The crew whispered that the coin was a relic from a forgotten ancient temple Jack had raided on a remote, uncharted island. They said he'd made a pact with some dark entity to acquire it. A pact that granted him uncanny luck in battle and an almost supernatural ability to find treasure. This luck, however, came at a terrible price. Crew members who got too close to the doubloon, or even spoke of it with envy, met with gruesome, inexplicable accidents. One man was found entangled in the ship's rigging, his body twisted into an impossible shape. Another simply vanished from the deck during a calm, moonlit night, leaving only a single, terrified scream echoing across the water. The crew came to fear the coin, calling it Jack's shadow or the heart of sorrow. As Jack grew older, his paranoia intensified. He trusted no one, convinced his crew would mutiny and steal his precious doubloon. One fateful night, under the cover of a ferocious storm, he took a small rowboat, his treasure chests, and the doubloon, and rowed towards a jagged, desolate island known to sailors as a ship graveyard. He buried his entire hoard in a deep, hidden cave, with the cursed doubloon placed right on top, a spectral sentry for his ill-gotten wealth. As the legend goes, he performed a dark ritual, binding his own vengeful spirit to the coin, vowing that anyone who dared to touch his treasure would face his eternal wrath. Captain Jack was never seen again. His ship, the Sea Serpent, was found weeks later adrift and empty. Its crew gone, as if plucked from the world by an unseen hand. For over 2 centuries, the legend of Captain Jack's treasure faded into folklore, a spooky tale told by sailors to scare new recruits. The island, now named Isla Padida, or the Lost Island, was a place to be avoided. But stories of immense wealth are hard to ignore. Fast forward to the 1980s. A team of ambitious treasure hunters, led by a charismatic but reckless historian named Arthur Croft, became obsessed with the legend. Croft had spent years deciphering old naval charts and pirate journals, piecing together the clues to the treasure's location. His team consisted of a seasoned diver, a tech expert, and a skeptical documentarian. A young woman named Elena, who was there to film their expedition. After weeks of searching, they found it. A hidden sea cave, its entrance obscured by a waterfall, just as the legends described. Inside, half buried in the sand, were several rotting chests overflowing with gold and jewels. The air in the cave was heavy and unnaturally cold. As the team celebrated their discovery, their cheers echoing off the damp rock, Arthur Croft reached into the main chest and lifted the source of the legend, the cursed Dloon. Elena, filming the moment, felt a sudden chill run down her spine. The temperature in the cave plummeted. The team's flashlights began to flicker erratically. Croft, holding the coin, laughed it off as a coincidence. But as he held the doubloon, his face, illuminated by his flickering headlamp, seemed to change. His eyes took on a cruel, greedy glint that Elena had never seen before. The trouble started on the boat ride back to the mainland. A sudden, violent squall appeared out of nowhere on a perfectly clear day. Massive waves crashed over the deck, and a freak lightning strike fried all their navigation equipment. They were lost at sea, tossed about by a storm that seemed to have a mind of its own. During the chaos, the tech expert was washed overboard. They searched for hours, but he was simply gone. When the storm finally broke, an eerie silence fell. The team was shaken, but Croft, still clutching the doubloon in his pocket, seemed unfazed, almost energized by the disaster. He dismissed the death as a tragic accident, but Elena knew better. Through her camera lens, she had seen something in the waver, shadowy figure with a single glowing eye, watching them from the churning water. They eventually drifted to a small, uninhabited island. Their morale was shattered. They were stranded with dwindling supplies and no way to call for help. The real horror began that night. Whispers seemed to travel on the wind, the sound of a man humming a ghostly sea shanty. Tools and equipment would be moved or disappear, only to reappear in strange places. Deep, guttural laughter would echo from the jungle, but searches would reveal nothing. The diver, a big, burly man named Marcus, was the next to go. He and Croft had a heated argument over the dwindling water supply. Croft, whose paranoia and aggression were growing by the hour, accused Marcus of hoarding it. Later that night, the camp was awoken by Marcus's blood-curdling screams. They found him at the edge of the jungle, his face pale with terror, babbling about a one-eyed man in tattered pirate clothes who had chased him through the trees. Marcus suffered a massive heart attack and died before sunrise. Now it was just Arthur Croft and Elena. Elena was terrified, not just of the unseen entity haunting them, but of Arthur himself. He was no longer the man she knew. He spent his days talking to the doubloon, polishing it, whispering to it. He ate little and never slept. His eyes were sunken, and he glared at Alina with suspicion, accusing her of wanting to steal his precious. He had become a mirror image of Captain One-Eyed Jack. One night, Alina woke up to find Arthur standing over her, the cursed Dloon held tightly in his hand, a rusty knife in the other. His face was a mask of pure madness. "He told me," Arthur whispered, his voice a low growl. "Captain Jack told me you want to take it from me. He won't let you." I won't let you. Alina scrambled away, grabbing her camera as a desperate, instinctual act. She ran into the darkness of the jungle, with the crazed Arthur Croft in hot pursuit. The ghostly sea shanty surrounded her, seeming to come from every direction at once. Twigs snapped behind her, and she could hear Arthur's ragged breathing and his mad muttering. She stumbled into a clearing and fell. Turning, she saw Arthur lunging at her, his eyes wild, but behind him a figure began to materialize from the shadows. It was tall and gaunt, dressed in the decaying finery of a pirate captain. Salt water dripped from his tattered coat, and seaweed clung to his hair. Where his left eye should have been, there was only a dark, empty socket. His right eye, however, glowed with a faint, malevolent green light. It was the spirit of Captain One-Eyed Jack. The ghost pointed a skeletal finger at Arthur. Arthur stopped dead in his tracks, his face contorting in terror. The spirit let out a silent, horrifying laugh that seemed to shake the very ground. It drifted towards Arthur, who dropped the knife and the doubloon, backing away in pure horror. The spectral pirate wrapped its misty arms around the treasure hunter, and in a flash of green light, both of them vanished, leaving only the cursed doubloon lying glinting on the forest floor. Alina was found a week later by a passing fishing boat, dehydrated and in shock, clutching her camera. The footage she captured was incoherent and shaky, filled with darkness, screams, and fleeting, terrifying images. It was dismissed by authorities as the result of trauma and hallucination. No one believed her story about a pirate ghost. The bodies of her crewmates were never found. The treasure, except for that one single coin, was never recovered. And what of the doubloon? Alina refused to touch it. It was taken as evidence, but soon vanished from the police lockup, disappearing as mysteriously as it had been found. To this day, some say the cursed doubloon of Captain Jack is still out there, waiting for the next greedy hand to pick it up to start the cycle of madness and death all over again. The treasure remains on Isla Padida, guarded by the vengeful ghost of its master, a warning that some treasures are best left buried. Thanks for joining me on this chilling journey. If you enjoyed this tale, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the shadows. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.